Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's very special Good Day Metro South luncheon. Live from the heart of Brockton's very own baseball park. You may have noticed the peanuts and the Cracker Jacks in the center of each of your tables. It's not just nostalgia, it's the theme, baseball, today. We're going to talk about baseball. It's in the air, and we're celebrating it in true hometown style. We're happy to be back at our stadium here. As a token of that spirit, everyone here today will be going home with a Brockton Rox t-shirt. Yeah. And each of you in your envelopes have 2 seats to opening day, which is coming up on May 16th. So hopefully you'll come back and enjoy the professional baseball's return to Brockton Stadium here in Brockton Rox. Speaking of the Rox, did you know that actor and baseball superfan Bill Murray was part of the team's original ownership group back in 2002. Many of you probably knew that. And today, Major League Baseball Hall of Famer Jim Rice is part of the ownership team that's here today, and that is owning and operating the Brockton Rox. He's not here today, but he was here earlier with the mayor and us. However, we're also proud to be joined, though, today by 3 former professional pitchers who both made an impact on and off the field. Please join me in a big round of applause for the 3 pitchers, all professional baseball players, all here today and contributing to the community. So first is Liam Sullivan, former Arizona Diamondback. This one might be a surprise to you because I just learned it last Thursday. Bill Mitchell, former St. Louis Cardinal, who is also the president of Massasoit Community College, and threw a mean pitch back in the Massasoit College days, right? And then, of course, we have Boston College All-Star Andrew Chin, who's part of the ownership team of the local McDonald's. So, round of applause. Now, he was on the Yankees, but he went to Boston College, so I had to throw that in there. So, thank you all for being here and for contributing to the community after your seasons with the pro baseball. Except for Liam, which I think is still hoping to get up there, right? Again, yeah. All right. He's playing this year for the Rox. It's so nice to be here at the Rox Stadium on such a beautiful spring day. Just a few weeks to opening day, as we talked about. I want to thank Mayor Sullivan. I want to thank Sydney Marrow, Jim Plouffe, and all the staff here at the Shaw Center for readying this room. I was here last week and there was no carpeting on the floor. This is all brand new. They've painted. It really looks great. So let's have a round of applause for all of them. I also want to thank Chef Michael Kane and the crew from the Adult Teen Challenge Center. Thank you for the food. We invite you to continue eating as we continue with the speaking program. That's how this works. It's almost like a working lunch. As many of you know, the Chamber holds these programs regularly. It is a terrific opportunity to strengthen our connections with each other, have a little lunch while learning about new locations, topics, and people shaping the economic future of the Metro South region. Today, we are very pleased to hear from 3 leaders. A leader in the business banking community, Jim Dunphy, CEO of South Shore Bank. Round of applause. A successful new book author, Rob Peters, who many of us know, and Mayor of Brockton, Bob Sullivan. So before we hear from each of them, I would like to remind you of the green Q&A sheets on the center of your table. If you have a question for the mayor after, we will ask as many as time allows. And we will just, if you write out a question, just hold it in the air. An ambassador or a staff member will grab it from you and we'll put it in the queue. And again, we'll ask as many as we can, all right? It's now my pleasure to introduce our MC for today. Please join me in welcoming the chair of our Chamber Board of Directors and president of Evans Machine, Dan Evans. For those of you who have not met Dan Evans is CEO of Evans Machine Company, a Brockton-based business that began in the basement of his family home. Over the past 55 years, Evans Machine has grown into a 70-person operation right in the heart of Brockton, within a 45,000 square foot advanced precision machine manufacturing facility that serves clients throughout the United States and throughout the globe. Dan.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you all. Good afternoon and welcome. And let me just say, it's not every day you get to enjoy a catered meal so close to a professional baseball field that unless you're being escorted or chased off by security. So we're here at the home of Brockton Rox, a team so full of promise, so much so that the Red Sox are scouting some of our players and our hot dog vendors. What a better way to warm up for opening day than with a State of the City pitch from our very own Mayor Bob Sullivan. He's got the stats, the strategy, and I'm told a wicked curveball when it comes to managing the 5th largest city in Massachusetts. So grab your peanuts, grab your Cracker Jacks, and maybe a networking partner or two. It's time to play ball while hearing from some great speakers on business and leadership in Brockton. We'd like to begin by thanking our chamber ambassadors in attendance today: Rico McNeil, Bluestone Bank, Felicita Sepulveda, Cape Verdean Association of Brockton, Rob Peters, Scouting America, Brenda Cairns, Old Colony Elder Services, Richard Hook, SCU Credit Union, and Corey Blaine, South Shore Bank. I would also like to thank our chamber board members in attendance today: Michael Lambert, Brockton Area Transit, Doug Smith, Stonehill College, Carol Chin, McDonald's, Rich Hines, Barber Corporation, Bill Mitchell, Massasoit Community College. Finally, I would like to thank our elected, selected, and state officials for their attendance today: Senator Michael Brady, 2nd Plymouth and Norfolk, Representative Rita Mendez, 11th Plymouth, Mayor Rob Sullivan, Brockton, Councilor Shirley Azak, Brockton Ward 7, Councilor John F. Lally, Brockton Ward 6, Timothy Sullivan, Brockton School Committee, Judy Sullivan, Brockton School Committee, Bishop Tony Branch, Southeastern School Committee, Brenda Perez, Brockton Chief of Police. It's now my pleasure to welcome our interviewer for today's program, Dan Trout of Northeast Savings Bank. Today's Good Day Metro South program is being sponsored in part by South Shore Bank. South Shore Bank President Jim Dunphy is a lead driver in the development of Leadership Metro South, a program focused on bringing new and emerging leaders together through a comprehensive year-long community familiarization program. The selected participants represent a cross-section of people and industries that have been meeting since last September. The cohort has spent many hours together learning, touring, and better understanding the this dynamic region. Today we are pleased to have with us some of the extraordinary attendees and their coordinator, Joanne Tully. Joanne Tully, can you give a raise? Thank you for all you do. We are equally pleased to have a leader who brought this initiative to the Metro South region. Jim Dunphy is, again, the president and CEO of South Shore Bank, among the largest community banks headquartered south of Boston. He is a graduate of a similar leadership program where he embraced this idea. Please join me in welcoming Jim Dunphy to be interviewed by Dan Trout.
We all set? Can you hear? Okay. We're ready for our lunch, Chris? I think, yeah. No? Well, I thought you said we sit up here, we get served up here. Is that this? Is that better? Okay. All right, we're going to get right to this because we're on a time schedule. So Jim's got great stuff to tell us, so I'm just going to get right to some of the questions. So I appreciate you coming up and being interviewed by me. So the Leadership Metro South program, a quick overview.
Sure. So we're in our 2nd year of the program. There's a great introduction coming up in that it's an experiential program where our cohort goes around to different venues. We have Education Day, Justice Day, Economic Development, and they get to learn what's happening in our community and in places that maybe they wouldn't normally see in their day-to-day, and it just makes them, a better part of being leaders and active members. And I mentioned it's in our 2nd year. We have a similar program on the South Shore, and that's in its 9th or 10th year. Joanne, how many years? Going into our 10th year. And one of the things it's done is it's seeded a lot of nonprofit type, volunteer activity. Chamber board members have come to this program. And one that was really neat, you know, the program had a day over at Massasoit, our friends from Massasoit in Canton, and they were talking about, you know, the diesel mechanics program and not having, you know, experiential type trucks to work on. And one of our participants donated a truck instead of trading it in. So that's the type of neat things that happen with this program.
That's amazing. When you speak of cohort, and then you talk about the benefits for the individuals, but plus for their organizations, for the people involved, describe what the cohort is and just the benefits to both.
Sure. So we actually have now, we've created such a buzz about this. There's actually a waiting list. So the cohort goes through an interview process. And we try to also make sure it's people who will participate, be active, and come from different walks of life, you know, different industries, and bring different experiences, because our group, as we call a cohort, probably gets as much on the bus rides as they do going on these adult field trips.
That's great. So South Shore Bank's been involved, and you've been involved. Do you want to describe a little bit more your involvement and the bank's involvement?
Sure. So as we brought it together, and Chris can talk about it, when I present these things, he's like, what? We only have a staff of, what, 3 people? You want me to do what? So I said, all right, well, this, you know, I want the chambers to be part of it. I think it's an important thing to do. And as mentioned, I lived up in New Hampshire for some period of time, and they had these programs. So I said, all right, this isn't going to work, just, you know, in trying to get them to do it alone. So this is something that'd be good for our community as a community bank. Let's just get it seated, and we'll help fund it and staff it. And so the chamber works in connection with us. But we felt it was important, and as I mentioned, now being in our second year, I don't think there's anyone that's gone through these programs that hasn't thoroughly enjoyed it, comes back for all our alumni events, and gets a lot out of it.
That's a tremendous resource that South Shore is providing. That's excellent as a community bank. So there's a new leadership cohort about to open up. You want to describe how somebody could apply, what the application process looks like, what the commitment is, and then for the organization, their commitment too.
Sure. So the application process, it's on the Chamber's website, so you can go on there and see Metro South leadership and tie in that way. So you fill it out, and then an interview will be scheduled. Usually you talk to at least 1, if not 2, or maybe 3 people that go through and score and try to get that cohort to be right. And then it's 6 days, Joanne? 6 days. 6 program days, and that it's a full day. You meet either at a program site, the bank, the chamber, somewhere, and a bus comes and gets you. And so it would be over probably a 7-month period, so there'll be an orientation day, so it's 7 days in total that the individual and the employer has to commit to.
Okay, keep the mic. And this is, the employer kind of gives this as paid time off kind of thing for, or?
Sure. As I like to joke, it is a little bit of adult field trips, but they do get a lot out of it.
Okay.
And I do think it's worthwhile, and as I mentioned, everyone seems to get a lot out of it. And I will plug, you know, we had different people that were helping run it, and Joanne, how many years, Joanne? Third. Probably couldn't have found a better match in Joanne's personality, and I've never seen her smile as much as when we put her in charge of this. So she does a great job and really puts her heart and soul into it.
So to get an idea, how many people are in each group? So
I'll give you, and I know we only had 7 minutes, so
Yeah.
we've struggled with it back and forth and how many should be in. You know, at different times we may have had, you know, close to 30. I think right now we keep it give or take 20. And as we went through the pandemic, visiting, so if you visit a hospital or schools, it got a little challenging, you know, with distancing, and then you have confidentiality and different things. So I think what we found right now is give or take 20 is the sweet spot to do these visits, get panels, you know, and find a place to go that doesn't overwhelm. You know, in some of our businesses also, we've taken tours of, you know, manufacturing or different food processes, so you can get a look at what's going on there too. So that's roughly how many.
that's great. So just let's give it up for Joanne and Jim and South Shore for this wonderful program.
Several members of this year's cohort and a couple of graduates here. If you guys want to
Yeah, man, have them stand up, or who are they? Yeah, where are they? That's great. So, let me,
Real quickly, did I lie about anything? Did you all enjoy it? Would you all recommend it? There you go.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. And this
Oh.
pen from the chamber,
thank you all.
like you didn't have one.
Thank you, Jim. All right, speaking of strong leadership, let's keep the momentum going and step up to the plate with our next guest. Just like a great reliever coming in to bolster the team, Rob Peters is here to deliver some game-changing insights for small businesses. He's the author of the Small Business CEO's Playbook, and after 35 years in business and 30 years as a member of the Chamber, Metro South Chamber, he's ready to share business planning, networking, and crisis management strategies that can help every entrepreneur knock it out of the park. Let's give him a warm welcome, Rob Peters.
Welcome, Rob. Thank goodness Chris didn't write in many baseball puns for us, so we're safe. Let's get right to it. So I know you have a lot to talk about, and there's a lot going on here. So, what inspired you to write this Small Business CEO's Playbook, and how did your experience kind of shape its content?
So I've been in small business since I was like 12. I was part of my family's business. My dad ran gas stations and a towing company and a repair shop before the days where you could walk into a gas station and walk out with a sandwich. And I got a lot of education from him, but then when I took off on my own business journey, I began to really learn a lot of lessons that he taught me all over again. And then I went away to college and studied business and communications. Back in the 1990s, the mobile DJ industry had zero business acumen when you went to a convention. There was nobody teaching these people who were running businesses how to run a business. It was all performance-based. So I had sat down with the publisher of one of the trade magazines, and I said, I have an idea for a book. It was called The Business of Mobile DJing. We surveyed 500 DJs from across the country, and I wrote a book. It took about a year and a half, and let's put it this way. My batting average in Little League and the number of books I sold were pretty much the same, about 500. And we sold 500 copies, and this was 20 years ago. And I also transitioned to sharing what I know about business in the DJ industry at conventions, and I've been doing that since then. About 3 years ago, I transitioned over to Scouting America, and we're at a planning conference, and my colleague Aaron Christian is here, and we were having a conversation one night about authors we knew. And somehow, some way, I just said, well, I wrote a book, and there were 5 of us in the room, and I watched the other 4 people pull their phones out when I told them what I had written, and they started scouring the internet, and Aaron got the only copy we could find of The Business of Mobile DJing. He got it for $5 on eBay, which means I got gypped out of like a royalty, which was fine. So he gets the book, and we were meeting one day, and he said, I got to talk to you about the book. And I said, okay. And I'm going, great, you found like 5 more typos, because back then I had hired a proofreader? No. And we didn't have like, Grammarly or anything like that then. So he says, there's a lot of useful stuff in here. And we started implementing it into our weekly staff meetings for, about a year? About a year or so. Last July, Aaron and I were at a training at the Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico, and we were talking about networking in class, and Aaron just reaches in his bag, pulls out a copy of the book, and blurts out, and Rob knows what he's talking about because he wrote a book. There were 5 of us in the class, and the other classmates took turns taking my book back to their tent and reading it, and they all came back and said the same thing. You really have a lot of useful stuff in here. And on the way back, Aaron and I said to Aaron, I said, do you think I should rewrite it? And I thought about it, and I decided to take the plunge, and I took the best parts of that book and decided to rewrite, but I didn't want to go to a targeted industry, and I looked back where I came from. I came from a mom and pop gas station business that my dad ran for a better part of my life. and I looked at what small business goes through. Show of hands, if I could just ask the audience for a minute. How many of you consider yourselves to be a small business person? Okay. Look around the room for 1 second. And then go look at the guide here at the chamber. The guide here at the chamber has tons of small business people that aren't here. And I bring that up only because of the fact that we have a valuable resource. Like, I love coming here because I feel like I'm on the cast of Cheers. Everybody knows my name. You don't shout my name yet, but we'll get there. But what ends up happening is we have an opportunity to do something that we're going to talk about in a minute. We're going to talk about networking, but it's really important to have that personal connection. And that's what I put into the book. And I also took a lot of the triumphs I've had in 38 years, and I even reveal a couple of areas where I didn't really do what I should have done, and it cost me. And I put that all into a book, and I decided to give it to small business because every big business started out small at one point or another, and that gets forgotten so often.
Well, obviously, I need to keep talking to get you out of your shell.
No!
So, if you talked about networking, networking is a major topic in the book. How has networking contributed to your personal success?
In 1999, I went full-time. I walked out of State Street Bank. Sorry, Jim. Where'd he go? But I walked out of State Street Bank. I was a mutual fund transferring processing agent. I was a part-time DJ, and I took the plunge and believed in my business enough that I could go do it. And one of the first things I did was I actually hired a networking coach, and she's spoken here at the chamber before, Diane Darling. And she gave me a class on how to network. And networking for me is so important in my business. It should be in all of yours too, because in today's world, and I'm sure we've all seen it, and I'm going to see heads nodding in a second when I say, you go into, I call them the little townie groups on Facebook, where you see people going, I need a painter. And you see about 25 different people post the names of these painters that they either know or worked with. Is that true? Say true if you've seen that. Okay, see, I told you that was going to happen. But there's a bigger value, Dan. And when you walk up to me and say, hey, listen, I need a painter. Who do you know and who do you recommend? And when I tell you who it is and I tell you that they've done stuff for me and they repainted my mom's house before we sold it, there's some authenticity there that goes beyond the digital stuff, and the personal connection that you make doing networking is so important. It's an impression maker, really, when it comes down to it. When you walk in the room for the first time and you meet people and you introduce yourself, that's just as important as maintaining your network relationship. I call it my network membership. The average person knows 600 people. Think about that for a second. 600 people. We can't manage 600 relationships. The average person can manage about 150. And if you use that information to manage your network, I'll tell you right now, my business right now, I work for Scouting America full time. I still run my business. My employees love me. I sign checks and give them good news all the time. That's all I do now. I fill in occasionally, and sometimes I get behind the decks and I spin some music. The majority of my business, I would say 85%, is either referrals from people in my network or repeat customers. I got rid of the knot. I got rid of Wedding Wire. Back in the day, I probably would have said I didn't have the biggest ad in the phone book when I first got started. I had a little listing, and that's how we built. But it was doing things like coming to an event like this. And I feel like, the business community can benefit from all of this. And that's why I really do talk about networking, because it really did save my business during COVID, too. And it was the connections I had that really helped us do what we had to do to survive.
So 150 relationships. I think my wife would say I have a hard time with one relationship. Anybody get show of hands? No, I'm just kidding. So you talked about a little bit about the pandemic and how you pivoted and networking took you through. So some of the material is pretty valuable advice in the book, including your chapter called "Don't Do Stupid Stuff." I would say,
There was a different title when we first wrote it. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah, I would say for my day already, too late for me already today. So, but what are some common avoidable pitfalls for business owners?
Doing stupid stuff. There's a lot. It does vary by business, but I'll speak from my experience for a minute. One of the things I had a problem with is my people would think about when you go to a car dealer for a second. You go to the car dealer and they say, "I got to go take this right to the boss," right? And they go and they disappear and they come back. In the wedding and special event industry, there are so many variables. It's not like you could just stamp a price on it. And in some cases, because of things like the internet or YouTube or even TV shows like Bridezilla's, you have people who come in and go, "I saw this here and I want to do it." And it is so far-fetched that you have to literally watch the episode and figure out how it was done. And I was spending probably about 1/3 of my day going through, well, this client wants to do Dancing on a Cloud, and how much are we going to charge for that, and do we do that, and what's the liability in that, and having to answer those questions. And I finally got to a point where I said, you know what? I'm going to give you the parameters to make decisions on behalf of our company. And that's the first thing. If you're a small business, if you're in any business for that matter, it's the people that work for you that matter as much as your customers. And I empowered every one of my people. I gave them 5 pieces of criteria that they had to follow. And if they followed it, they could go ahead and bill it out. Is it something the client wanted? Or is this something that we feel is going to benefit their event? Is there a cost? And is the customer actually going to pay for it? If not, what is it going to cost us? Is it something that we have in-house? I'll be upfront with you. We would go out all the time, and a client would book a DJ. And we would throw in the light show for free just because of the fact that it was sitting in the shed and collecting dust. And I'm like, just put it out there. It enhances the event. And we went through the entire rack of criteria, and I finally got to the point where I said to them, and I learned this from John Taffer. How many of you have seen Bar Rescue? I love that guy. He's actually a Facebook friend. It's pretty cool. Every now and then he sees stuff and he gives me a little thumbs up. And he never calls me when he's in town, though. It's weird. But the last thing I tell my people is, if you were in my shoes and your paycheck depended on this happening or not, would you back it up financially? And my people all looked at that for a minute. I had one person ready to give her notice. She's like, no, I'm not paying for a dime. If I screw this up, it's on you. And that was okay. But the thing is, you hire people if you trust your people. Empower your people to do some things for your business to help it grow. They might have some great ideas that you've never thought of before, and keep an open line of communication. Sometimes I've seen business owners who literally lock themselves in an office all day and do nothing. The one thing I learned about my dad knew every customer. My dad knew how to tell his staff how to make them happy with whatever they were getting done to their car. And, you know, empowerment is so important. Empower them, and empower them on a comfortable level. Don't be afraid to give them a little bit of a leash to be able to make a decision that's going to make you money. Because when they feel invested in what you're doing, they're going to want to stay and work for you longer.
So I'm going to go off script a little bit, but you talked about, right now you're writing paychecks and doing scouting. So
Yeah.
how do you stay, a lot of people here might have, doing multiple things. How do you stay involved when you're at the top and maybe not involved day to day?
I check in. We have a group chat on WhatsApp. So they all check in with me there. There are reports that my DJs and my trivia people do have to fill out, and I monitor them. And I basically I have 2 senior people that I trust enough that if something goes wrong, they go to them first, and then they come to me. So they're like the gatekeeper. And I know that when I see either Allie or Brian's numbers show up on my phone, that it's probably something important. Oftentimes it's something so minor, but my staff is instructed to be able to go through that process, but go to somebody underneath me that I trust enough to be able to make those decisions.
Great, thank you.
Pandemic question.
Sure. Let's get back to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And he's had a variety of topics in the book, experience, small business owner, particularly how you pivoted in the pandemic. Tell us a little bit about that.
I wanted to bring this up. I don't know if you saw me up front. I was trying to tell Dan I wanted to do this question because I feel it's really important for a couple of reasons. First of all, if the Rox are looking for a hot dog recipe or vendor, that was one of our pivots during the pandemic. We bought a hot dog cart. And because food service people were essential workers, right? So there I was on Route 1 at Furlongs. If you know Route 1 in the Auto Mile in Norwood, they have an ice cream shop. We would set up there. The owner was very nice to us and let us set up there. She wanted somebody serving lunch and then having people go over to buy ice cream. And it worked beautifully for us. I bought a hot dog cart because the one thing that the general public didn't know when it came to business is we still had to pay insurance. We still had to pay rent in some cases. We had to pay for the phone, the internet, the website. The list goes on. It didn't stop because of the pandemic, and the government was great in making sure that business owners felt some kind of support. I pivoted a bunch of different ways. The hot dog cart was one of them, and it was actually a lot of fun, but we transitioned into a couple of different things. We worked with councils on aging, and they wanted to get the seniors out of the house because they were so afraid of coming out because of the virus. And we wound up setting up a parking lot party at Councils on Aging where you parked your car and you had an empty parking spot and you could sit there. We had music playing. We had an FM transmitter, a little low-quality FM transmitter like they use at the drive-ins or at some of the church services. And we actually played music bingo in the parking lot and served them lunch. And we did that all over the place, and it was wonderful. The seniors got to get out of the house, and that was a big concern for Councils on Aging during the pandemic. We also did something with our kids' entertainment division. For those of you that have been here for a while, you know that I did kids' entertainment as the Bubble Music Man. We used to go to daycare centers and do bubble parties for kids, and it was an enrichment program. Show of hands, how many of you had kids in the house when everything closed down? And you all have your hair. Thank you very much. I had a pre-teenager in the house at that time, and we were all trying to work, and mothers and daughters, and just things going on. I decided I needed to get out. So the first thing we did was we built a trailer. We threw some bubble machines on it. We put a battery pack on it. We put some music, and we ran Bluetooth. And we went out as a service for free. We didn't charge a dime for this. And we did a tour all throughout, basically from where I live in Franklin, all the way through the South Shore. We went to East Bridgewater, we went through Rockland and Hanover, and we did these bubble parades. You remember everybody, for birthdays, you didn't have cake, you had a parade. But I threw a parade to get everybody out of the house, and I let parents kind of have a little enjoyment with their kids where they were getting driven nuts with, I don't understand my schoolwork or anything like that. We just went out and did that. It was beautiful. People taking sidewalk chalk and thank you signs, and we did it just because of the fact that people needed something to do. And it was so much fun, and it actually yielded us business because we then did the socially distant birthday party where we would back in your driveway with the trailer. We would come down the street if it was your birthday, and people knew it was your birthday because we'd have the Black Eyed Peas playing, we'd have 4 bubble machines shooting out bubbles, we'd back into your driveway. We would put down a hula hoop for each child socially distant. And that was their dancing bubble. And we would do a 30-minute party. That's how we survived the pandemic because I lost all my conventions. I lost all my weddings. I was fortunate enough to be able to have connections here with Chris and some of the other chambers. I did facilitated networking and things like that online, and we did trivia and music bingo and things like that online just to give people things to do. We weren't making a ton of money with it, but at that point in time, I felt that the money was going to come if we were still relevant. And sometimes that's the thing. You can't put a price on that future goodwill.
Well, it's fascinating. I could talk to you all day long, but we're short on time. And just a quick plug for your business besides the book. If you haven't had Rob and his company to an event, it's quite the experience. He does a fantastic job, keeps it moving. Great for fundraisers, great for parties, great for any kind of event. So just to wrap it up, I'll skip to one question and just say, what's next for you, and what advice do you have for some of the small business owners in the room today?
I'll start with the advice. And this is a me quote that I learned a long time ago. if you act like a professional and you present yourself like one, you will be respected like one and compensated accordingly. That's been my mantra for a better part of 20 years. What's next for me? I'm with Scouting America, and I'm doing membership and membership growth. And we've been working with the mayor here in Brockton, and we have a lot of stuff going on. I'm still running the business, and right now we're working on taking the book to another level. I'm pushing the book right now, but we're going to be coming up with some resources and some ways to really help small businesses thrive moving into the future.
Thank you, Rob, for sharing your insights with us today. Your shared experience and lessons are a real home run. To entrepreneurs and small business owners in the room, it's written, I have to read it. Rob will have copies of his book for sale after the program concludes.
Autograph copies.
And chamber members can save by using promo code Metro South if they would rather purchase the book online at robpeters.biz. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. That was great for the powerful insights, and definitely a playbook that is for sale here, and one that every company, small business should have, and I certainly will purchase one. Sean Riley, where's Sean Riley? I just want to recognize Sean Riley. He's a co-owner and president of the Rox. He is the person that, or one of the people that's responsible for all the tickets that you all have that are in front of you. Make sure you take them with you, and for the T-shirts that we got. So let's get a round of applause. Thank you, Sean. All right, now as we head into the final inning, today's program, baseball.
Ninth, or is it the top of the ninth?
Yeah, we're just heading into it. Yeah, top. It's time to bring in our closer. When I say closer, I mean a mayor who began his stretch preserving our health by guiding us through a pandemic, encouraging our economy by allowing construction throughout the pandemic, and negotiating and enacting multiple intermunicipal agreements, strengthening the city and regional economy. Now, I know you have all heard that he is a free agent next year, but no one wraps no one wraps things up with more passion and energy for our city than our very own mayor. Please welcome Honorable Bob Sullivan to provide an economic update and overview of the state of our city. Thank you.
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everybody. I am so excited to be here. This is the first official non-city event that we have had here at the Shaw Center. I want to thank Chris Cooney and the members of the board of the Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank the dedicated team at the Chamber that makes it a better daily effort here in the city of Brockton and beyond. So let's give them a round of applause. So I'm a sports guy, so to be able to look at this field and know that we're going to have professional baseball here is exciting. But before I came here today, first of all, I called my mom because my mom's birthday is today and she's 84, so that's great. Oh, thank you, Jack. Thank you. But my youngest son, Will, said, well, Dad, where are you going? And I told him, I'm going to the Shaw Center, the Chamber of Commerce, going to see so many people. He's like, you got to do something funny. You got to do something funny, Dad. You're not funny enough. And I said, okay, I'm going to do something funny. We'll do something funny. So this is as funny as it's going to be, okay? I'm a righty, so we're going to start on the right side. The folks on this side, you're going to just say R. In the middle, you're going to say O. And over on the left, you're going to say X. Because this is for our wonderful new owners of the Brockton Rox, Sean Riley and team. Ready? R, O, X. R, O, X. So I'm so excited to be here as the mayor, but as a lifelong Brocktonian, and want to thank my fellow elected officials on the local level, the state level. I want to give a shout out to my dear friend, Plymouth County District Attorney Tim Cruz. Thank you, DA. Really appreciate it. My chief of staff, the best chief of staff that any mayor could have, Sidney Merrill. Thank you, Sidney. We also have Suzanne McCormick from my office over there, and Rob May, the city planner. I have to thank the city folks that come to this building. This is City Hall Annex right now. They come here every day. I want to thank Jim Plouffe and Bill Forty and the team, because I had told them there's a specific drop dead date where the carpet has to be down and we're ready to go. We're going to open this door and let's go. And they met it, weeks before. So I'm so proud to be here today. It's a little close, right? But next time you're here, we're going to have that section open because the carpet will extend that way. And then ultimately, when the third section vacates, that will be when the City Hall Annex people move back to City Hall when we finish the ARPA construction. So just be a little more patient on this, but we're almost there. I also want to thank, I know Chief Perez, Brenda Perez is here from the police, Chief Brian Idelli from Fire here as well. Give them a round of applause, please. So when Chris invited me to be here, I said, well, really, Chris, what do you want me to talk about? And if you know Chris and you love Chris, Chris is a no-nonsense type A, and that's why he and I get along. He's like, well, Mayor, just talk about state of the city. Talk about economics. Talk about development. Talk about everything that you want to talk about. And Dan's not wrong. I'm in my last 9 months to go, and I won't be running for mayor again, and we'll see what the next career is going to be. But whoever comes in to succeed me, whoever he or she may be, I want to make sure that that person has a recipe for success. So we're going to continue to just move forward for the next 9 months, get it done the right way, the Brockton way, the champion way, and we will do that. I do, before I go into my little talk, I do want to humbly ask each and every one of you to reach out to your family and friends to support the Brockton Rox, because this is the real deal. We have professional baseball, high-quality professional baseball back in the city of Brockton. We have ownership that understands what baseball means, the America's pastime. Sean Riley created a team, the New York Boulders in New York, that has been extremely successful, and that's a professional team. Bill Janitek and Rob Janacek also own a portion of the Boulders, but they also own a portion of a Major League Baseball team in Florida. And now, of course, we all know we have Jim Rice, the Red Sox Hall of Famer. So we have the right people in place. We just need to make sure we have people in the stands. So you're going to see a high-quality product on the field, but you need to be there to witness it. So again, I humbly ask you, and I want to thank you for the generosity and kindness of the free tickets. I know the Sullivan family will be there, and I expect to see many of these wonderful faces here as well. So as I typically say in the mayor's office, let's get at it right now. So we have come up with a new slogan here today. It's where progress meets possibility. And in terms of the infrastructure and the major development projects, I kind of wanted to just give you some highlights of where we are and where we're going. If you have been fortunate enough to drive down either Warren Ave or West Elm Street, you've seen the progress of the public safety building. That's a building that is a legacy project, and it's a catalyst for future development in the core of the city. It's cleaning up a city block from Highland Street to West Elm Street. Warren Ave from Spring Street near Vincente's all the way down to Belmont Street near the parking lot for the Superior Court. It's going to become two-way. So two-way traffic is coming, and we're going to have 4 departments in this building. And this is a building that all of us can be proud of. Now, originally, the cost estimate was $98 million, and I want to thank the City Council. They authorized the bonding of $98 million, and at that time, the next day, I remember asking the CFO, Dr. Clarkson, let's borrow that money today, Troy. And he's like, well, why would we borrow it now? And I said, because the interest rate's at 2.5%. Let's lock in. And we did. We did. So over the term of that borrowing, we're saving tens of millions of dollars of interest rates. Now, I only tell you that because that's the good news. The bad news is they found ledge and other contaminants there, so that $98 million went up to closer to $150. And the City Council, to their credit, invited us in, and I want to thank them. They supported that, and we borrowed the money as well. So we now are having a $150 million project that is going to house 4 departments. The Pleasant Street Fire Station that was wired by Thomas Edison himself for horse-drawn carriages, and this is true. Edison actually wired that. It's the first electrified fire station in the United States of America. It's taken offline, and those firefighters are going to be moving into the new public safety building. Now, as mayor, I won't sell that building. That's a piece of history. I would hope that the next mayor will support that endeavor as well, and that will be some type of museum. But we will be relocating the staff there. And then Chief Nardelli, Brian's office is right across the parking lot here on the West Side Fire Station. Chief and his administration will be moving into this public safety building. Brenda Perez, chief of the police department, the entire police department will be vacating where they are right now. We will be selling that property. It's really a hot piece of property abutting the railroad tracks on the commuter rail. And then 100% of the police will be in this new building. Now, another really important thing, as a graduate of Brockton High School, and I was in the red building and I graduated in 1988, the extremely proud thing is the IT department for decades has been at Brockton High upstairs on the 3rd floor of the core building. And 100% of the IT, informational technology, will relocate. It's going to free up classroom space for the boys and girls and staff at Brockton High, which is a game changer. But we're also going to have IT, police, fire, and then the fourth is going to be Brockton Emergency Management. Now, you only hear about BEMA during the bad things, right? When we have blizzards or tornadoes or civil unrest that night at Dunkin' Donuts after the brutal murder of George Floyd was burned. But our EOC, which is our emergency office setting, is going to now be in that building. So they will vacate the War Memorial and go into this building as well. So why I tell you this is every time I speak to the state partners that come down to meet with me at City Hall, first question is, how you doing on the public safety building? What I'm proud about is that we have a construction company, Suffolk Construction, led by a gentleman named Mr. Fish, John Fish, who I didn't know prior to getting involved in this. I asked him to commit to me and shake my hand that it will be open summer of '25. And he did just that. And they came to my office yesterday to confirm that it will be open this coming summer. And it's a game changer for Brockton. So when I talk about development and infrastructure, I have to thank all the developers, every developer that has ever developed in the city of Brockton. Past partners, current partners, and I'm pledging and hoping and begging to have future developers as well. We have great, great people that are committed to the city of Brockton. Brockton has to tell its own story, and I think we've done a really great job of that. Now, people have said to me, you know, you were really unlucky to become mayor in January 6th of 2020 because, you know, like 6 weeks later, you're dealing with a worldwide pandemic. Well, through adversity, you have to find options, right? You have to do what you can with what you have where you are. And so one thing that I made sure that we did was continue to have construction ongoing. And it's paid off. And so the Lincoln School, which is on the corner of Newbury and Highland Street, was a dilapidated, offline piece of property owned by the city of Brockton. And it was sold to NeighborWorks Housing Solution. And now we had the ribbon cutting. It is housing for seniors in the city of Brockton. It's a stone throws away from Legion Parkway in the new public safety building. So I want to thank Rob Corley and his team at NeighborWorks Housing Solution. They had a vision, and they've achieved that vision. So that's a wonderful thing. When we go on to this building, which is the redevelopment of key properties, when I became mayor at my inauguration, I made a speech. And one of the things I said was the Shaw Center was built to be a conference center. It's a community venue, and we need to get it back that way. Now, little did I know when I said that, standing at the podium in the City Council chamber, that we would have to pivot with the worldwide pandemic. And I spent $4 million of CARES Act on this building for ventilation and air conditioning on the roof and making sure that the rubber membrane was going to be okay. And then we turned this into the City of Brockton vaccine clinic. And it was so successful that then Governor Charlie Baker and then Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito came down here and they got their vaccines here. And that was a partnership with our local Board of Health. That's why that sign is up here, our emergency management, and our partners and friends at Neighborhood Health Center. People save lives in this room and the other two rooms. But then, thankfully, when the pandemic subsided, my thought was we have to continue with utilizing the Shaw Center. It can't sit idle. You know, you have to put money into an investment. It's like, you know, hiring a carpenter to fix something at your house or a mason to fix your front steps. You have to spend money to benefit. And we've done that. We've spent ARPA money here. But it's not just the interior that we spent money on, the exterior. We spent over $1 million on the LED lighting, and the scoreboard was $400,000 out there. And I only tell you these figures because you have to put an investment in to reap a benefit. Return on investment is real. And we have a return on investment because it looked like we weren't going to have baseball this spring and summer. And then these gentlemen stepped up, and I welcomed them with open arms. But it's not just the product on the field, it's the tangible. Brocktonians and those that live in Easton and Stoughton and Foxborough and Canton are going to be working here. We have concession stands, gift shops. So it's a tangible, really verified return on investment. But I also just want to let you know that after the pandemic subsided, my view was, how else can we use this building? Because my ultimate goal is to have it rented out on Friday nights and Saturday nights and Sunday nights and during the week. And we're going to make money and we're going to maximize this. There's a wonderful state-of-the-art kitchen in there. But then things kind of pivoted again because I invested sizable amount of money, of ARPA money, into the Senior Center, Mary Cruz Kennedy Council on Aging, where we needed a 5,000 square foot addition. And what I was telling Rich is, I'm not a really smart person, but when I talked to the architect, they're geniuses, because I said, I need 5,000 square foot addition on this building without losing one spot of parking. And they did that. And in the meantime, we utilized this building as the temporary housing for the Council on Aging. And so they just vacated this. And if you haven't seen the COA, I would encourage you and humbly ask you to go down there because it is beautiful. We owe everything to our seniors and to our veterans. And so I'm really proud of the fact that they came here, they pivoted, they used this as a Council on Aging, and then they moved out. And now the annex down on the third section, those folks, same thing. They're working here, they're doing their job, they're doing it in a way that all of us are proud of because we're in the people business, we help people. But then ultimately they will come back to City Hall, and then we're going to maximize this to 100%. In terms of housing, I'm a huge proponent of housing. I was when it was Governor Baker, and I am with Governor Healy. The thing about Brockton is, geographically, you can jump on the commuter rail, right? We have 3 stops in Brockton. In about 35 minutes, you're in South Station. Or, if you have a vehicle, jump in a car, get to Providence about the same time. So from a geographic standpoint, we're there, right? And so just last week, I was able to meet with the governor and lieutenant governor for the South Coast Rail, the ribbon cutting that was done in East Taunton. And what's important about that for Brockton is, so it goes to New Bedford and Fall River, and so, you know, Mayor Coogan and Mayor Mitchell are going to benefit down there. But it's the tangible results because we're going to have more train stops in Brockton now. And so we're going to be able to jump on the train, go down there, but they can also come this way. So that's the win-win result. And, you know, I'm really proud of the fact that it finally came to fruition. And, you know, it's eventually there's going to be the next phase going through the town of Easton. And, you know, I just, from my perspective, not as the mayor, but as just someone that thinks transit-oriented development is really the essence of success in a municipality, a town, or a city. We're achieving that here in the city of Brockton. And, you know, I don't slight any other municipality in the Commonwealth. We have 350 other great cities and towns, but the city of Brockton's a special place. We all know that, right? I mean, that's why we're here today. We care about the City of Champions. We care about the people. We care about the history. We learn from the past to forge ahead to the future. That's what Brockton means to me. And so you take the good times and you take the bad times and you just go to work every day and you try to make a difference, right? And it doesn't matter if you work for Scouting of America or the mayor of Brockton or Dan Evans. Like, we have a job to do every day. And so the things that are going on right now in Washington and the uncertainty, we wake up every day, we don't know what's going on. The only thing we can control is what we can control. That's all we can do, right? So, you know, we work with our business partners, we work with the chamber, and we work with the schools, and we work with the housing components, with Brockton Housing Authority. But the only thing we can do as Brocktonians is make a difference in people's lives every day. We have 106,000 residents in the great city. We are an inclusive, welcoming community. We always have been. I mean, I've said this a million times. We are a city of immigrants. We always have been, and we always will be. And so, unless you're a Native American sitting here today, you're an immigrant. I mean, that's your history, right? And so I only say that because what I'm so proud about Brockton is the representation in this room and beyond. Like, you can look around here, and all of our stories might be a little different. Like, my family came from Ireland, my wife's family came from Italy. But at the end of the day, we came here for a better life, right? Either for ourselves, but more importantly for the next generation. And so when I do leave office, I think I'm going to leave it in good hands for the next mayor that comes in. I know that to be a certain and a fact. I want to talk about the housing growth and urban development. Again, we have hundreds of new downtown housing, and that's the core, right? 40R smart growth zoning was adopted in the core of the city when I was on the city council. And we knew adopting that mechanism was going to bring about not just investment, but housing for people. Housing. People need to live somewhere. I've said this many, many times. I'm the mayor of everybody. If you're fortunate to have a roof over your head, or if you're facing homelessness, I'm your mayor. And, you know, we, at the end of the day, the elected officials, we work together for a common purpose, to make it better day to day for people. The Chamber does that. I mean, when I went to Washington, D.C. recently, I went into the national headquarters. What's etched on the wall down in D.C. is Brockton, Massachusetts, because Brockton was one of the first incorporators of the entire national chamber. I mean, that speaks volumes for Chris and the legacy of the chamber here in Metro South. One thing I have to give a shout out right now, and I served 14 years on the city council. I have to thank the city councilors because they recently adopted what we call an overlay district. So they have the ability as a legislative body to pass laws. Here in Brockton, they're called ordinances. If you're in a town, it's called a bylaw. And they did their due diligence. They did their homework. I was able to testify in support of it. The fairgrounds, which is really an undeveloped piece of property, now has an overlay district. So we know at least 1,700 housing components are going to be built on that fine place. So again, let's give the city councilors a round of applause. We also have, you know, residential projects currently under construction. Marion Tuxedo's property is going to be developed by Dakota Properties. The Hotel Grayson on Frederick Douglass is right now currently being worked on by NeighborWorks Housing Solutions. The old Lynch's Towing in Campello down in Ward 4, again, NeighborWorks Housing Solution. That directly abuts the Campello train station, 43-69 Montello Street, 26 School Street, 132 Main Street, 46 Montello, 69 North Montello. These are all investments that are exciting because, again, they're in the core of the city. So if you invest in the city and you develop in the core of the city, it's all going to expand out. It's just going to spider web out. It's going to go the east side, south side, west side, north side. And, you know, we have a great opportunity right now to help everybody in Brockton. And I said it earlier, the homeless population situation. Father Bill's Mainspring has been a wonderful partner with me. You know, they have done yeoman's work in the city of Quincy, and I tell Mayor Koch he's only the city of presidents. We're the city of champions, so we trump the presidents. I don't think he likes that so much, but I say it anyhow. But through the leadership of John Yazinski and Father Bill's, they had asked me if I would support a expansion, a wraparound campus setting on Manley Street. It was the former recruiting center on Manley Street, which was the VA property, so it's government-owned, U.S. government-owned property. Now, first, as the mayor, I wanted to kick the tires to see if the city could utilize it, but there's a law called McKenty-Vento, and if you could provide homeless services, wraparound services, you would beat out the municipality. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I will support it if it's going to help Brocktonians. And I also want to put some skin in the game. So I took $650,000 of ARPA money and I donated it to the efforts there. But before I did that, I wanted to make sure that they understood that not every person at Father Bill's is from the city of Brockton. So we did an analysis. About 65% of the folks are from the city of Champions. 35% come to the city of Brockton for the renderings and the services of Father Bill's. So then I went to the Plymouth County folks. I went to Treasurer O'Brien and the county commissioners, and I said, let's do a cut. Instead of the city donating $1 million of ARPA, I'll do 65%, you do 35%. You come up with $350,000, I'll come up with $650,000. They shook on it, and they did that. So $1 million of ARPA money, federal money, has gone to this project. What's exciting about that is it is providing services to people that need it the most. It's healthcare. Neighborhood Health Center is based in there now. They have an annex medical facility right there. We have, and thanks Mike Lambert and the BAT folks, we have a BAT bus stop that they put right there as well. And again, my view is let's continue to help those that need it the most here in the year 2025. The next slide is the housing market, and I want to thank Boston Magazine. You know, when I grew up in Brockton, if you wanted to buy a Campanelli, we call them Campies, you could probably buy a Campy for about $30,000 at the most, right? Radiant heat. You know, it's on a slab. It worked well when those came back from World War II, the greatest generation. But now Campy's is selling, and Councilor Lally knows, it's selling for over $500,000, over $500,000. City of Brockton is on the map of people. There's a vision right now. We have exceptional services. We have the 2 hospitals and the VA hospital. We have the best public school system in the Commonwealth, if not in the nation. We have Massasoit Community College, which you can go there for free now under the leadership of President Mitchell. But we also have our dear friends at Stonehill College in Easton and Bridgewater State. So Father John Denning is the president of Stonehill, Fred Clark, the president of Bridgewater. These people are making a difference for Brocktonians because Brockton kids are going there and Brocktonians work there. So it's kind of a win, right? I mean, I don't see any downside whatsoever. But I also wanted to just let you know right now, I was recently on a call with Moody's, which is our bond rating agency. It's, you know, S&P and Moody's. And Moody's had put a pause on our rating because of the deficit on the school side, and they wanted to make sure we got all of our auditing up to date, and they wanted to speak to me as the mayor. And they said, what do you have to say about Brockton? And I told them, you know, Brockton, 106,000, everything. And they said, do you have anything else to say? I said, yeah, you know, I'll be pretty blunt, if you can understand my Brockton accent. These people were from New York City, so I don't know, they were Yankees fans, so I really didn't care. Any Yankees fan? I hope not. I hope not. But what they said is, well, yeah, what do you want to say? And I said, okay, the city of Brockton, Massachusetts now has 3 Starbucks, okay, and a Chick-fil-A. And they said, well, why do you care about that? I said, no, I don't care about that. I mean, I like Chick-fil-A, Circle of Trust. I like to eat the Chick-fil-A. I look like it, right? But why I say that is, if you look at the net worth on Forbes, the high-ranking billionaires, and I've had the privilege to speak to quite a few of them. And one was a guy, Dave Freeman. He owns the Nashville Predators. He's based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And he wanted to invest in Brockton. And he brought to my attention that before he stacks either his own money or he borrows money from institutional lending, he looks at, does the municipality have a Starbucks and a Chick-fil-A? And we don't have 1 Starbucks, we have 3, and we have a Chick-fil-A. And so they're kind of looking at me, these New Yorkers, you know, Wall Street guys, their eyes are kind of glazing. And they said, well, what else do you have to offer? And I said, well, I'll tell you this. Think about this. Within the last year, Chase Bank came to Brockton. Chase has never been to Brockton before. Rockland Federal Credit Union came to Brockton, never been here before. South Shore Bank, and I have to give a shout out to Jim Dunphy. He's an awesome guy. His leadership program is awesome. But when I first met Jim, I said, can you open up a brick and mortar bank here in Brockton? It doesn't happen, right? And most of it's online banking. And the guy said, yeah, we'll do that. And they did, right next to Rom's on the west side. So we have South Shore Bank there. And then the last one was Bank of America at the Westgate Mall. And so all these guys in Wall Street are kind of looking at me like, you know what, that makes really sense to us. And so they gave us an A2 rating. Now, I only tell you that because if I didn't share that and tell our story, they wouldn't have known that. They probably would have given us a less grading. So I urge each and every one of you, and I want to thank Rob, and I'm going to buy your book. I'll tell you, can you autograph it for me? No, my mom, for my mom. I want to just tell you that I am proud to be here with all of you today, but I'm prouder that each and every one of you care about the community. Now, if you live in Brockton, do you mind just raising your hand? Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on our community. If you work in Brockton, raise your hand. Thank you. If you are visiting Brockton. You're visiting Brockton. Well, you can move to Brockton, right? And you can work in Brockton. We'll talk later. I just want to, and I just want to go kind of quickly through this, but the Rox are awesome. We support the Rox. I want to see everybody at the game. Jim Rice is a really great guy. He told me that Kyle Yastrzemski and Ted Williams disagreed on batting. I can tell you about that later. His best friend to this day is Reggie Jackson, a Yankee. It shocked me, but he's a great guy. And all these gentlemen here care about bettering Brockton. So if you're looking or your loved ones are looking for summer employment, I'm a dad of 3 kids, 2 teenagers. Talk to these guys, because guys and gals, they are looking to hire folks as well. When we go to transportation, I have to give a shout out again to Mike Lambert. As mayor, I serve as chair of the Bat Bus Corporation. Yeah, give Mike a round. So as mayor, I chair the Bat Bus Corporation, Brockton Area Transit, and Mike and I were talking. This was actually right when we were trying to come out of the curve of COVID, and I asked if we could consider doing free fares on the weekends, especially during the holiday season. I wanted to get people back at the stores, and without hesitation, yep, we'll do that. And that is carried over, and I want to thank the board members for supporting that. It is carried over, so you can jump on a Bat Bus now for free, and it is free until the end of June, the fiscal year. but we are working diligently with our state officials, and I know Rep. Mendez is here, I know Senator Brady's here. We have a new rep, Bridget Plouffe, and Rep. Dubois. They are working diligently. There is an extension proposed in the House 1 budget. So again, Mike, you and your team, thank you for what you do every day. 5 electric buses, BAT users now. I mean, electric is the way to go. I talked about the South Coast. I have to give Chris Cooney a shout out. The wayfinding signage was something that Chris, it was an idea that the chamber came up with, and he asked me if I supported it without hesitation. So if you use wayfinding around the city of Brockton, it's a real benefit. CX Rail Yard, if you're familiar with the city of Brockton, and you know what CSX is, under Mayor Carpenter, a lot of people call it Tent City in a derogatory way because a lot of our homeless population was living there. But CSX wants to sell it. Charter Development is under agreement right now with CSX to acquire that. It's acres and acres and acres of land, which will be utilized not just in housing, but it's going to be commercial. It's going to probably be a little bit of technology, industrial, and that's going to be really great for our tax base. But it's going to provide opportunity for people to move to the city of Brockton as well. It's walking distance to the BAT bus. It's walking distance to the downtown train station. The IMAs, intermunicipal agreements, I've signed quite a few since I've been mayor. What I've always said when I meet with the towns is that I'm the mayor of Brockton. I'm not the mayor of Easton. I'm not the mayor of East Bridgewater, although I respect you. I'm not. So I need to protect the integrity of the city of Brockton. I can't give away any of our assets if it's going to have a detrimental impact on our future development. And so through the efforts of people that work at City Hall and the Water Department and DPW, we've been able to say, okay, this is what we have to set aside for future growth in the city of Brockton. CSX, Fairgrounds, Thatcher Street, where the nuns live on Thatcher Street, the convent, that's going to be developed on the backside of Massasoit. So I need to make sure that any development is not going to be hampered by IMAs with other municipalities. And so we have that really etched now in stone. Recently, I want to thank the City Council for approving it. I sat down with Connor Reed, if you're familiar with the town of Easton, he's the town manager over there. They've been asking mayors, I guess, since probably Mayor Units, maybe, Jack Units, Jim Harrington, Linda Balzotti, Bill Carpenter, Moses Rodriguez. And then they came to me and they asked if I would consider doing an IMA on Belmont Street, the Eastern Industrial Park, which is very close to the entrance to Stonehill College, Bourne Auto sales up there. And I said, yeah, I want to hear more about it. And it wasn't water, it was storage. It's going to help their growth. It's going to help the city of Brockton. It's going to put about $1 million in our pocket. It's just a win-win. And so went before the city council, told the story. The town people came, and it happened. So that's a success story because had they not come to me, number one, I wouldn't have known that they've been trying to get this for 20 years. And I needed to make sure that we did our homework so that it didn't hamper our efforts. I want to give a shout out to Stonehill. Stonehill utilizes our water sources. Portion of Stonehill College is in Brockton. If you went to Brockton High or Spelman or Southeastern back in the day, you might have had a beer or two at the Rock. Anybody go to the Rock? I went to the Rock. Bill, you're Circle of Trust. Circle of Trust. King Philip's Cave up there. But again, because the college uses our services, and I've proudly supported that, it's a great institution. The tangible result is the city of Brockton gets scholarships for boys and girls that go to Stonehill. A great, great, great education, D1 sports now. Doug's here on behalf of Stonehill. And again, that's the partnership, that's the relationship, right? That's, taking off your glasses, right, and listening and learning before you make a decision. And, from my perspective, as long as I'm mayor, we need to always forge ahead. Now, as the son of a retired history teacher, my dad was a history teacher at Brockton High, and so history is really important. Coming down, right? All this federal money was coming down, and some of my friends in other cities and towns said, you know what, we're going to use millions of dollars for pay raises, and we're going to use millions of dollars to hire people and to balance the budget. And from my perspective, I'm like, absolutely not. It's short-sighted because it's a one-time funding source. What's going to happen next year when that money's gone? Lay off those people, right? Your budget's going to be on balance. You can't do that. It's not good business practice. And so the CFO agreed with me, and I wanted to do sustainable projects. So the War Memorial, $4.8 million project of ARPA, 100% ARPA money. And we owed that to the vets. And we had a wonderful event there a week ago Saturday for our Vietnam vets. We lost 18 Brockton High grads in the Vietnam War, and we wanted to memorialize them and talk about them and have their families. And so that's what's important about using money, sustainable money. The Liberty Tree. If you know about Brockton, you know about the Liberty Tree, right? It was on High Street. Now it's Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass himself would come there to preach about the evils of slavery. It was a stop on the Underground Railroad, which was where Patty's Lane is now, if you go up that way, before you get to Warren Ave. But also the suffrage movement, women's right to vote. People would go to the Liberty Tree. But to my astonishment, I didn't know that the city of Brockton didn't own the Liberty Tree. It was privately owned. And so when I became mayor and I found that out, I was like, the heck with that, we're going to buy it. It's a piece of history. And so the city solicitor, Megan Bridges, acquired it on a friendly taking. We spent, I think it was, I don't know, under $3,000 to acquire it. It's just a slither of land right there, but now it's ours. So we mulched it the other day and we beautified it. And that's a piece of history that we have to sustain. And so I'm throwing a lot at you today because, well, I won't be here next year to do this. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, greatest middleweight champion the United States and the world has ever seen. Pound for pound, the best fighter, no doubt about it. Just a brutal warrior in the ring. I had the opportunity as a young kid to play basketball with his son, Junior, at the Hancock League. He was a really great guy. Marvin got on the bus with us when we went into the Boston Garden to see the Harlem Globetrotters, and he was just there as a dad. But when that guy got in the ring, he would pummel you, right? I mean, Tommy Hearns, that fight, 3 rounds of just brutalness. He got robbed by Sugar Ray, and I'll stay here. Sugar Ray Leonard did not win that fight, and I'm going to keep saying that until my dying day. But Marvin was never memorialized in a respectful way here in the city of Brockton, and we needed to do that. WBC, World Boxing Council, when Mayor Balzotti was mayor, gave for free the unbelievable largest sports figure statue in the Northern Hemisphere, Rocky Marciano. It's right over there at Marciano Stadium. If you haven't seen the statue, go see it. It is the biggest statue in the Northern Hemisphere. But we couldn't build one that big, right? First of all, we wouldn't have the money. But I said, let's get a fitting tribute. So then State Rep Jerry Cassidy, who recently retired, asked me if he could be helpful. And I said, Jerry, I'm going to need about $150,000 to do something that's going to be a fitting tribute to the champ. And unfortunately, his mom, May Lang, Marvelous Marvin's mom, passed away before we were able to achieve this goal. But the city council worked with me. The BRA, which was the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, worked with me. And then internally, we built out that unbelievable statue location. And we planted a tree for May Lang in honor of her. But if you've ever gone there, and again, it's on Petronelli Way, which used to be Ward Street back in the day. The champ would run up and down that because the Petronelli brothers' gym was there. And so now there is a fitting tribute. It's a lifelike statue of Marvelous Marvin. We did an unbelievable event, and we had really great dignitaries come here. But what was most exciting is we had people like myself that witnessed him on an exhibition. He fought at Brockton High in the gym. He fought at Massasoit in the gym. He fought his brother, Rockin' Robbie Sims, in the gym. And so I only mention these things because we have to always memorialize people, right? Heroes. But also, we want to be able to attract people. So now we have people that are boxing fans and aficionados come to Brockton to see the Hagler statue. I think that's a tangible result because they have to buy gas here and shop here. So it's a win-win, right? Cosgrove Pool. Anybody go to the Cosgrove Pool as a kid on the east side? Jimmy, you have, huh? So I used to lifeguard there, Jimmy. It was before your times. But I lifeguarded there, and it's a great pool. And for many people, the east side pool is the beach. It really is the beach in the summertime. A lot of people don't have the money or means to go to the Cape or even to Nantasket. And so this pool, when I worked there back in the day, this pool was packed. It was always packed. YMCA, at that time, it was Mark O'Reilly, who was the former chief of staff in the Mayor units. Mark was in charge of the pools. And so he would grab Brockton High graduates that summer, was senior year, to work there. And I worked there, and it was awesome. And it came into disrepair, and we still utilize it. It's still a pool. But when I went down to Washington, D.C., I asked Congressman Lynch and Senator Ed Markey if they would consider giving me additional money to help the East Side Municipal Pool. It's where kids learn to swim. And Steve Lynch grew up in Southie, and Ed Markey grew up in Malden, and they both learned to swim in a municipal pool. And a lot of you have heard this story. So they said, well, what do you need? I said, well, I already have $3 million of ARPA money I'm going to use to the pool. Can you come up with another 3? And they did. And we invested $6 million in that pool. And it was offline for a year, but we used the Manning pool behind Brockton High. We pivoted. And I want to thank Mike because we used bat bus transportation for people on that side of the city that want to go to the Manning pool, free buses. Let's go. So that's the collaboration. That's the teamwork. That's the thinking outside the box to achieve what you need to do. And then if you've gone to City Hall, and I want to apologize, it's a pain for parking down there right now. The detours are a pain as well. But through the pain, there's going to be gain. That is the best City Hall in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I mean that, it really is. The artwork in there is priceless, it's historic, it's beautiful, but the actual outside of that building is phenomenal. It was built and opened in 1892, and the air conditioning was horrible. The air quality was horrible. The leaky roof was terrible, slate roof. So we have invested tens of millions of dollars over the term of ARPA money. Right? And when I say tens of millions, it says 8.6 on my slide, but we're going to be up to probably 14 based on ARPA money. Because one thing that I want to do is, there was a fire there before I was born. Outside of the mayor's office in the Rotunda area, there was a fire at City Hall. And so there's all drop ceilings there now. But when you pull away the drop ceilings, there's original frescoes that were painted in 1892. They're beautiful. But because of the fire, there's steel beams now supporting the floor. So what I want to do is take that down and encase the steel in wood that's going to match the integrity of inside the building, so that the people that come to Brockton and work in that building can look at the frescoes that are covered up right now. And again, there's some money and investment there, but the long-term reward is going to be great. When I talk about long-term reward, if you were a kid and you used to go up to DW and either fish or feed the ducks or skate, you probably remember I call them a pillbox. My mom would never let me go in there, my dad sometimes. It was bathrooms. It was a bathroom. It looked like a pillbox from World War II, right? And it had been taken offline in the 70s, and it just sat there idle. It was disgusting. It was green. It was cinder block. It was horrible. And so what I asked Southeastern Regional Vocational Technical, an unbelievable school where 65% of the kids are from Brockton. It's right in Southeastern. I asked if they would consider doing a project where the city of Brockton would rip down the pillbox, we'd keep a foundation, and we'd build a welcoming center there. And if you drive Oak Street right now, that's what's going on. Kids are there right now working there, building a welcoming center. And it's awesome, and it's a win-win. It's something kids are proud of because most of the kids working on the project are from Brockton, but we're all going to benefit from it. So those are the things that, we can achieve, right? We're only limited by your imagination. Think about that. It's true. You're only limited by your imagination. So taking ARPA money and making sure that the 7 wards are touched, the playgrounds, the parks, let's invest money so that the boys and girls and people can walk their dogs and people can enjoy the playground. Let's invest some sizable money, and we've done that, over $3 million. Hillstrom, my daughter and my son play soccer. They're up there all the time. It's horrible. Well, we're going to make it so much better. We have a whole new parking lot. We've just done so much right there. So some of them have already opened. The Ash Street Playground, Trent, we have not as of yet opened that because we wanted to buy ADA equipment for those that are physically challenged. We wanted to buy special equipment for youngsters to go there and just enjoy being in a playground. And so that was backlog. So we've invested some money in that, and then the Ash Street's going to open up. So I can just tell you this. The nonprofits, and many of you work for nonprofits, have been great to work with. None of us realized the magnitude of the pandemic, but I wanted to thank them all. So I took $2 million, and 42 nonprofits benefited from that money. I gave it to them. It's a gift. It's a grant. Here you go. So we had about, on average, 50 grand per nonprofit utilized the ARPA money. And so I leave you on this. We have to look ahead for future priorities. And I'm going to work my tail off. I'm really type A. I'm going to work my tail off for the next 9 months. And I'm going to work with the city council and the school committee and the state delegation. And the end of this month, on the 30th, I'm flying to D.C. to meet with Congressman Lynch and Senator Warren, Senator Markey. And, I'm a labor mayor. I support unions, and the locals have been great. I did not vote for the man that's in the White House, and if you did, that's great, but I didn't. But he's the president, and I respect the presidency. So I don't know what money's going to be cut here. I don't know what's going to be cut from the federal level. And it's easy to say, well, if the feds cut some money, you can get it from the state. It doesn't work that way. It's a trickle down, right? Washington to Beacon Hill to the city of Brockton, 45 School Street, City Hall. But what I can tell you is, as the mayor and as a dad and as a human being, I really find it to be a travesty when students at Southeastern Regional went to school the other day and their parents got grabbed and they don't know where their parents are right now because ICE showed up. And so those kids now are wards of the state. And a couple kids at Brockton High, it happened to them as well. And so they're wards of the state. And it's just horrible. It's horrible. So I can tell you that my social services director, Jasmine Bradshaw, is working diligently on that to see what aid we can do. Our partners in D.C. are working with us. But again, what we need to do is come together during the good times and the bad times and think outside the box and don't be listening to the naysayers. But the future of Brockton is bright. I used to say this, and Chris used to quote me, if Brockton was a stock, everybody should be buying. But don't buy right now because the stock market sucks. But I will tell you this, just hold. It's all going to come back. I don't know when. I'll be at Calvary Cemetery, but it's coming back. But I can tell you this. I'm going to leave you on this. I just put eight down, 8 talking points. There's probably 80 we could talk about for priorities. But the desal, we have a mandatory secondary water source in the city of Brockton. We use Aquaria. The secondary water source was mandated by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's not going away. So the city of Brockton has to think about what the next option is going to be. You could talk about the MWRA, you could talk about the acquisition of Aquaria, but it's a priority. Water is vital. Everybody knows about PFAS. So we need to come up with a mechanism for success. As a business person, as a guy that has his MBA, I think an acquisition might make sense if the price point is right, as long as other municipalities acquire the source from us. We sell the water. And again, it's going to be some dialogue, some conversation, but it's been happening for decades, and we need to either pull the plug or move in a different direction. But the secondary water source requirement is not going away. I've spoken to the Commonwealth. It's not going away. CSX we talked about. I would humbly ask if you are a banker or a developer and you're a speculative investor, look at Legion Parkway, because if you think about it, Main Street to Warren Ave is ripe for success. And then you're going to have, 300+ people every day at the Public Safety Building. Warren Ave is really a great location, but Legion Parkway is the cut-through to get there. So put that on your radar. State-mandated ADUs, the accessory dwellings, we're already on top of this. We don't forecast in the city of Brockton that ADUs are going to be a problem. We don't think you're going to see really just a ton of tiny houses popping up in the city of Champions. But I will tell you that, as someone that's fortunate to have both my parents with me and my in-laws still with us, I can see in-law dwellings popping up that are beneficial, or generational living. Generational living has always been here in Brockton, where the grandparents and great-grandparents, the aunts, the uncles live in a triple-decker or a two-family. It's just something that's a reality. The fairgrounds we talked about, but I want to talk about the South Side, Kmart Plaza. I had an agreement in place early on in my tenure to have a movie production studio move to Kmart Plaza. They have one down in Trenton, New Jersey. They have one in Midtown, and they wanted to move the third option to Brockton. Could not get it done because the owner of Kmart is getting paid still by Kmart, right? It's like an annuity. They're getting paid. It's like Stop and Shop being vacant in Council Azak's area. They're still getting paid, the owner of that. It's nuts, but it's real, right? Shaw's paid for, I think, 10 years on the south side. So, we need to try to figure out what the Kmart Plaza is going to be. It's really a ripe area for development down there. We talked about the VA in terms of Father Bill's Mainspring, but what I'm really proud of, and I had a meeting with Congressman Lynch on site, the VA hospital, and if you've ever gone to the soccer grounds to watch soccer, Brockton soccer gets to play their games at the VA. So if you're coming in from Belmont Street and you take the right and you're going around the buildings, there's fields over there, right? If you went left, there's one field in the back. They asked me if I would support a private developer to develop in conjunction with the VA for 100% housing for veterans. People that can live on their own but need the services, need the health and social awareness support, emotional support of the VA. And I supported that, and Steve Lynch supported that, and it's going to happen. But we were both quick to say we're only going to support it if you fix the soccer field in the back, because you're going to take 2 soccer fields in the front to put this wonderful new development, and it's going to jeopardize soccer for the boys and girls. And I need that to be a promise. They made me a promise. Lynch, a guy from Southie, an iron worker from Local 7, he went a step further. And what Steve said was, and I want lights put up. And they agreed to that. So we are going to have a soccer field at the VA that's going to be really high-purpose soccer field with lighting, because the congressman wanted nighttime soccer. I will leave you with Christos. A lot of us grew up going to Christos, right? Sullivan in the green room, Sullivan in the gold room, right? Party of four, Sullivan in the gold room. Mr. Zagatos was a real nice person and donated so much of his time and money to the city of Brockton. But it was acquired. The goal was, when DeVal Patrick was governor, it was going to be a health center for Massasoit. It was going to be beautiful. It was going to be a standalone building. And then it changed when Charlie Baker came in. But the view now is that it's coming to reality. Instead of putting it outside of the grounds of Massasoit, there's going to be on the grounds. It's just better. It's better for the students, the staff. It's a win-win. But now you have an eyesore on the east side on Crescent Street, Route 27. What should be developed there? And I've been working with the state delegation. That's Michelle Dubois' district. I've been working with Senator Brady. That's his district. Jeff Thompson, the council president, that's his district. And just know that it is owned currently by DCAM. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts owns that, but they understand the urgency of getting that, offloading that, so the city of Brockton will benefit. So I won't tell you what my meeting was yesterday with DCAM, and I testified before a joint committee with Senator Collins and Rep. Cabral, but I will tell you that things are progressing there, and there's going to be some nice development in the near future. So I want to just thank you all for listening to me. I am a typical long-winded Irish guy, but I think what I needed to say today is important. You needed to hear it. We have gone through some tough times. We almost were taken over last year, receivership, because of the school deficit, but through collaboration and working with Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll, former mayor of Salem, and working with Secretary of A&F Gorkowitz, and DESE and DOR, Sean Cronin, we've been able to weather the storm. Thanks to the city council, again, and the school committee members for working together. But I just want to tell you that the business community is essential to continued growth here in Brockton. And, you know, I've said this many times to Chris, like, when you think about Brockton, the City of Champions, and the history of Brockton, and the Chamber, and what the Chamber does, even though the Chamber is based in the Edison Building across the street from City Hall, it does so much for Brockton, but Brockton and beyond. It's a regional, right? And my friends in Randolph rave about Chris Cooney and his team, because they understand that the eyes are on the prize. All of us know what we want. We want a better life for the next generation. And we're going to achieve that, but we will only achieve that working together. So I thank all of the elected officials for what they do every day. You know, Mike and Rita and Michelle and Bridget travel to Beacon Hill. I mean, that's a pain. I drove into Boston yesterday. It took me 2 hours on the expressway, so God love them for getting in there when they do. City councilors have been great. I respect each and every one of them, a school committee. But really, it's all of you. I mean, you don't have to be here right now. No one's forcing you to be here. You choose to be here for a purpose, because you understand, number one, you want to hear the latest and greatest. You want to network. You want to have wonderful food. And let's give a shout out to Teen Challenge. That was phenomenal food. But I leave you on this. In the past, I told everybody this story about what my daughter Grace told me. This was many years ago, but in the height of COVID, when people were passing, and at 4 o'clock my phone would ring and they'd give me the death count. And I'm not trying to be gloom and doom, but what Gracie told me to be, and I've said it before, be the kangaroo, because kangaroos can only jump ahead, right? Their tail doesn't allow them to jump back. But I've come up with a better one, William, our youngest, who's 12 and goes to West. William told me recently, be the buffalo. Now, my kids like animals, I guess. I don't know. Must be the Italian side. It's not the Irish side, I'll tell you that. Be the buffalo, Dad, not the cow. I said, what do you mean, Will? And he said, Dad, when a rainstorm is coming, and in the distance, the clouds are dark, and it's going to be lightning and thunder, and it's going to be a wicked storm, what does a cow do? I said, I don't know. It sits in the grass and waits. I said, no kidding, they do? Yeah, they're not smart. And he said, but you know what the buffalo does, Dad? I said, no, Will, what does the buffalo do? Charges right to that and goes through that storm and just keeps going. So I ask you all to keep charging, because I know how special Brockton is. And if we keep charging together, we're going to get to the place we want to be. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. All right, we're going to wrap it up real quick. I just want to, we're not going to do question and answer. We've passed our allotted time. Before we go, we're going to hand out some door prizes, and we're going to thank a few of the following: today's ambassador team, Rich Morgan Photography, Brockton Community Access Channel, the Enterprise News, Chamber staff, members Emma, Hannah, Colin, and Chris. They make it all happen. Our host, the Shaw Center, our sponsor, South Shore Bank, Brockton Rox, and team president Sean Riley. And also, congratulations on all that's happened so far, and good luck this season. And finally, we want to thank our speakers: Jim Dunphy, South Shore Bank, author Rob Peters, City of Brockton Mayor Bob Sullivan. And finally, each good day, Metro South we randomly select one company highlighted in an upcoming action report newsletter. And that is our door prize number one: an action report business profile and a copy of Rob Peters' book. The winner is John Michaelitz. What is it? Mikulczyk? John Mikulczyk. Sorry for butchering the name. Door prize number two, a $25 Amex gift card and a copy of Rob Peters' new book. That is John Bobbin. You here? CSB. And lastly, another $25 gift Amex card with a copy of Rob Peters' new book. Maria Samaro, am I saying it correctly? From BAT. There you go. To those whose names were drawn, you can pick up your gifts here with Hannah at the door, and you will receive your prize. Thank you all for coming, and have a wonderful day.